Welcome to Democracy Truth, a podcast about elections in Arizona. I'm Suzanne, your host from the League of Women Voters of Arizona. My co-host today is another League member, Emra. We're excited to delve into the world of mail-in ballots, also known as mail-in early voting here in Arizona. As League of Women Voters, we're frequently approached at events with questions about this voting method. So to shed light on the process, we'll be recreating a typical conversation someone might have with us. Buckle up and get ready to become a confident voter.
I can't take the time to vote. I go to school full time and have a job. There's no way I can ever make it to a poll.
What about voting by mail?
Voting by mail?
Sure, Arizona law has permitted voting by mail for more than 20 years, and approximately 80% of Arizona voters choose to vote by mail.
Tell me more. How do I get a ballot before the election?
First, you'll need to get on the active early voting list.
Okay, so how do I get on this early voting list?
Well, actually, there are two ways. You can do it online. Go to servicearizona.com and update your voter registration there. Or you can send a written request asking your county recorder to be added to the active early voting list.
Then I'm on the list forever?
Well, not necessarily. There are a couple of things that can get you taken off the list. First, if you don't use your early ballot to vote at least one time over 2 statewide election cycles, or once over 4 years, you will get a notice from the county recorder's office. That notice will have a form asking you if you want to remain on the active early voting list. You have to send that form back in its postage paid envelope saying you do want to stay on the list. If you don't, you will not continue to get ballots in the mail.
What if I move? Will the ballot get forwarded to me?
No, by law, ballots and other election-related mail cannot be forwarded. It will be marked undeliverable and will be returned to the county recorder's office. Then your name will be removed from the active early voting list.
Aw, that sucks.
But all you have to do if you move is go to that same website, servicearizona.com, and update your voter registration information. Another thing though, you're a college student, right?
Yeah, I go to college out of state, but I'm still an Arizona resident.
Well, then, if you are on the early voting list, your ballot will be mailed to the address that you used when you registered to vote.
Well, that's not very useful.
Then you can plan ahead and request to have your ballot sent to a temporary away address. This needs to be done through your county recorder's office.
Sounds complex.
It's actually not that hard. The instructions, including who to contact, are on the website, azsos.gov/vote by mail. Scroll down to the FAQs and you'll see the one about being out of town for the election.
Oh, I see it. Well, then I probably will need to be removed from the active early voting list while I'm at a temporary address. How do I take care of that?
You can fill out the active early voting list removal form, which is available at the county recorder's website, or update your voter registration preferences at servicearizona.com.
This all sounds fine, but when will I get this magically mailed ballot? I don't pick my mail up every day.
Not a problem. Early voting starts 27 days before the election. That gives you plenty of time to review the ballot, fill it out, and return it, postage paid by the county. To make sure that your vote gets counted, it should be mailed back at least 7 days before the election. Or if you prefer, you can drop your completed ballot at any voting location or at a secured ballot drop box in your county. Dropping your ballot off can be done until 7 p.m. on election day.
Well, what happens if my ballot gets lost or damaged or something?
You can get a replacement ballot at any early voting location if your county has early voting sites. If you live in a county that does not have early voting sites, you can request a replacement ballot. subject, of course, to verification that you've not already voted. The county recorder or another officer in charge of elections keeps a record of each replacement ballot provided. The other option is to simply vote in person on election day.
So, what's to keep someone from requesting multiple ballots and voting more than once?
First, voting more than once is a crime, but just to make sure that doesn't happen, your county recorder's office tracks the ballots and cross-checks them with in-person voting records. Voters on the active early voting list are sent a ballot through the post office as intelligent mail. This means that each ballot has a barcode that can be tracked by your county. Then, before the ballot is counted, each voter's identity is confirmed. That's true whether you mail your ballot in or vote in person.
So, can anybody get an early ballot?
Not quite. To be eligible, you have to have registered to vote at least 29 days before the election, and you have to be 18 on or before the next general election. Plus, you must live within the voting district.
Makes sense. But how do they know it's actually me casting the vote, not some sneaky imposter?
Ah, that's where the affidavit envelope comes in. When a voter is mailed an early ballot, they will receive the official ballot and an early ballot affidavit envelope.
An affidavit envelope? Sounds serious. What's it for?
It is serious. When you first registered to vote, you showed proof of citizenship and where you live. Then you signed the voter registration form. This signature is like a secret code that ensures your identity.
How?
After you've filled in your ballot, which by the way, doesn't have your name associated with it in any way, you have to sign the affidavit envelope for the ballot to be counted. Trained election officials then compare the signature from your voter registration with your affidavit to ensure that it's truly your vote being counted.
Oh, so that's how I can be sure that no one can steal my ballot and sign it without my knowledge.
Yes, and you may even track your ballot on the election eligibility and ballot by mail status. Check your county recorder's office website to check your status.
Okay, you've made some great points. And with about 80% of Arizona voters already using it, I guess I shouldn't be nervous about it.
That's right. Besides, it gives people like you who have difficulty getting to the polls a safe and convenient way to vote to ensure their voices are heard.
Wow, that's a compelling point. I'm definitely going to check it out. Thanks for the nudge.
And thank you, listeners, for being with us today. For more information on how to get on the active early voter list, go to azsos.gov/vote by mail. Join us for our future podcasts about democracy in Arizona as we dig into other interesting topics. This podcast has been brought to you by the League of Women Voters of Arizona. We are a nonpartisan, grassroots civic organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We work to increase understanding of major public policy issues and influence public policy through education and advocacy. With over 100 years of experience, the League is one of America's oldest and most trusted civic nonprofit